Okay. It says I'm live. All right. Hi, guys. I am Kirsten Peck, and welcome to my homeroom for success. And I am a high school teacher. I teach freshman English usually, and I am putting together a challenge for students to get a smart start on their lives. I teach, as I said, freshman English, and I realized that there are skills that have been missed in middle school or during life. If you're already in high school, that's okay too, but there's still things that are being missed. And that there's an urgent need for teenagers to learn a few life skills and get a grip on their lives and what they want to do with themselves and where they're headed in the future. So not all students are having these kinds of problems. I have lots of students that are very positive and focused and know where they're going, and that's just awesome. I'm so happy for them. But I realize that there's students that are falling through the cracks who don't seem to get paid attention to or don't seem to speak up, maybe, and really just need a little bit of extra guidance. So in some ways, I've almost traded my teaching hat for a coaching hat, like a life coaching hat or a growth mindset hat. Seems to be the new phrase of kind of where this is coming to, because I realized students say to me that they don't like school, they are not learning anything, teachers are boring, it's a big waste of time. And that concerns me, because I really know that education is the thing that makes people's lives better. And without some sort of an education, you're really just left fending for yourself. And unfortunately, there's a lot of cards that are like the deck stacked against you, So you have to know how to play the game, and you have to know how to get ahead, and you have to have these skills. But I'm concerned because I've seen the programs being cut in my schools. The classes that used to teach these things don't exist anymore. And so where are the kids going to learn it? So I worked on this over the summer, and I put together a 31-day challenge of about 15-20 minutes a day is how much activity or how much time it's going to take. And it's reading and writing and thinking about your future and really learning some critical thinking skills. So in doing all of this, I decided to host my homeroom here on YouTube so that people can get to know me and can get to learn more about the challenge and hopefully get in the challenge. So obviously my website is called AskMSpeccom, and I'd love you to go over there and go ahead and get your seats, get your reservation for what time it is you want to work with me, because I'm doing it as one-on-one coaching personally with teenagers. I think that's the best way to get serious attention to a serious situation. But the challenge workbook, or handbook rather, is available on Amazon, and anybody can do the challenge and follow along with me here every afternoon on Homeroom. So that's kind of the idea of why I'm here and what's going on. And every day I'm here in Homeroom to share some tips of advice or some knowledge of how to get ahead and make things better in life. And I'm also sharing some historical things that have happened in the past, different lives of famous people and things that have happened, because we can learn from their success as well as their mistakes. And so history and biographies are a big part of what I'm passionate about, and how I teach my classes at school, and how I'm running this challenge. And so today in history, actually, it's Halloween today. It's October 31st. And so first and foremost, I have to say happy Halloween. I've loved Halloween over the years. I'm always one to dress up and go to parties and have a good time. And I recognize the Mexican and the Hispanic festival of it being Dia de Muerte, the Day of the Dead. Really, tomorrow is the Day of the Dead. Tonight's the night. And the history of that. But today I want to talk about something very different in history. And it's something that stands out to me as being one of those pivotal moments of time when the whole world changed. And I'm recognizing it because we right now are in the middle of our national election here in America. We have 3 more days, 4 more days, something like that, to see how this is all going to turn out with our next presidential election. But bigger than that, we're at this turning point of history because we go through different ages of time that typically span about 100 years. So we've gone through the Renaissance to the Enlightenment to the Reformation to colonialism, and I'm going through history, as you can see me like going through history here. The Industrial Age, which was in the 1900s, where we saw a lot of production was increased thanks to the production line. Factories in the production line brought in the industrial age. And now we're at the beginning of what they're calling the information age because of the birth of the internet and our ability to communicate across and around the world instantly. Case in point, I'm here on my YouTube channel. And so this new generation or this new age of the information age is now here. So we are living in real history happening, and things that have happened with technology over the last few years, social media, you guys know, you've all been raised in it, and how that is going to totally transform the world on so many ways. So looking back at history, and I'm trying to make this short because history sometimes just, I think it's fascinating, so I just go on, but I'll try to make this short. So 503 years ago, today date, October 31st, the year is 1517. And that particular date and time is very important because it was the end of the Renaissance. And literally in Rome, Italy, Leonardo da Vinci was an old painter. He was probably 80 years old at the time, which in those days was truly ancient. And he was living in the Vatican under the money and the auspices of the Pope, who was paying Leonardo da Vinci to live and work and paint and study. And Michelangelo was also living in the Vatican and was part of the Pope's generosity and support. And the third artist, I want to say, was Raphael. That one's escaping me at the moment. I could go look it up, but you get my point. These two major Renaissance artists are living and working in Rome at the height of the Renaissance. Okay. In Germany, which is not that far away, but by horseback, maybe a week's ride, let's say, back in the day with horse and buggy. But the same exact place, 1517, there was a professor named Martin Luther who was working at a college in Wittenberg, Germany. And he was very upset with the Catholic Church and with the Pope in Rome, because the Pope had said that you could, in essence, buy your way into heaven. And that the only way to get to heaven was through the Catholic Church, and through paying alms and money to the church would you then be able to reach heaven following this path. So Martin Luther didn't agree with that, and he felt that the way to be with God is to directly speak with him, and that you don't have to go through the church and through the Pope. And so he wrote a list of 99 questions to the Pope, asking how that was going to work and why does it so much money, and how, and the questions are very specifically picking at the reasoning with the Pope's decree that was how it was going to work. So he literally wrote down this list of questions, went to the big church in the middle of the town, and with a nail and a hammer pounded the paper onto the door of the church. Okay. At the time, 1517, today, 1517. That caused a huge, crazy riot and unbelievable proportions, because he basically was saying that the Pope was a liar and was wrong, and that the whole system of religion was wrong. And at the time, most people were not educated. Most people were peasants or were living under the king, who just took care of them as peasants. Back in the day, again, this is the Renaissance time. If you had a trade, and if you were a craftsman, then you could trade your art, or you could trade your horseshoes were a big deal, and they were trading services and bartering services during this time, but not really going to school. And women definitely were not going to school. So, it was back to my point of this guy, Martin Luther, was absolutely the nerve of him to write these questions and to post them on the wall in this great act of defiance. Okay. So I love this story because it's, again, that tipping point moment of somebody standing up and speaking out and saying, I don't think this is right, and asking a lot of questions to the authority or to the people who are in charge, who've made themselves in charge. And Martin Luther really started this Age of Enlightenment, 1517 through 1600s, when people started asking themselves, why am I here? And what am I doing? And education really should be for everybody. And that, again, is this revolutionary idea that challenges the people who are in power and who have money, because they want to keep the power and they want to keep the money. And the best way to do that is to keep the people stupid, pretty much, because if you're smart, you'll do something to make your own money and then overthrow the people who are in charge. So this whole process of things and how our government works, because what happened, Martin Luther and this shift and this break with religion started the newer religions like Presbyterianism and Lutheran, because of Martin Luther. So Lutheran became a religion. And as the years then go, the Church of England, the king in England decides to make his own church, the Church of England, because, again, this is the idea that everybody could come up with their own ideas about religion and how to practice it. And if you were the king, like the king in England, you could say, I'm now in charge of religion, and this is what it's going to be, and this is how it's going to work. And the poor people, the peasants, go along with it. You didn't have a choice, So it really then leads to, fast forward 200 years in England, our founding fathers in England saying, wait a minute, this isn't right. I don't agree. I think we should have it this way. At which point they embark and come on the Mayflower looking for America. So this whole idea of being able to speak up and speak up, ask questions about what's happening, and think about decisions and control of your life, that is a whole concept really started 503 years ago today, thanks to Martin Luther posting his 99 Theses on the wall at the Wittenberg Church in Germany. So it's a unique piece of history that you don't really think of with Halloween. And it's something that I discovered because I've been sitting in many, many history classes, teaching them over and over and looking at the calendars and looking at the timelines of things. And I was one day in class, and I just was like, wait a minute, the Renaissance was still ending, and this was beginning, literally overlapping in 1517. And other amazing things happened also in that year, which I'm not going to get into now because I'm already up at 15 minutes. So you see what happens. I get talking about history, and I think it's fascinating, and we live it today. Here we are again. So if you're fascinated by any of this and this craziness today on Halloween, not your typical conversation for Halloween, and I admit it, but that's okay because I like to change things up and make things different. So that's me. I'm Kirsten Peck, and my homeroom for success. And go to the website. The tickets are over there, AskMSpeccom, and I'll be back here tomorrow for another homeroom for success. It's here at 3:00 in Florida, so I hope you can join me. Okay, bye. Take care. Be safe if you're out there tonight trick-or-treating, okay? Bye.